Okay, so I want to switch topics a little bit, and we've been talking about video games for the majority of the episode, and we have done a lot of board games as a group and just like non-video games. So I do want to talk about like some of your favorite board game, card game, kind of that kind of side of gaming. Um, so if you guys have like favorites or just like good times that you remember with board games.
Well, my main friend group from high school, whenever we get together, if we can set aside a big enough chunk of time, we'll play the game Twilight Imperium, which is a gigantic board game all about like running a space empire basically. So you will sort of fight people and engage in diplomacy and make alliances and betray people, and it's really fun. It takes a really long time and it's pretty hard to learn, but like now that we're all seasoned players at this point, it's really fun to jump into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with Twilight, or is it just a...
No,
Okay.
it's its own thing, far away in space.
Gotcha.
I think we all know
Hmm.
that we like to play some werewolf around these parts.
We do like to play some werewolf. For those listening that don't know what werewolf is, it's this game called One Night Werewolf. And I always, whenever I ask someone if they play it and they don't know what it is, I equate it to Mafia. Because I think the most people know Mafia in like the genre of whodunit games. But werewolf is way better. It's cooler.
Yeah. Or if you're a gamer,
but...
Among Us.
True. Among Us is probably more well known than anything else at this point.
Yeah, that's true. If
Well, for like kids. I guess if you're like
yeah.
adults. Well, I mean, if you're old people.
I feel like it's pervasive enough. Like my parents know what Among Us is.
Really?
I didn't
Yeah.
even have. Yeah, I didn't have to tell
Wow.
them.
My parents definitely don't know what it is, but
Okay.
I don't think they know what Mafia is either, so... They do know what werewolf is, because I've talked about it so much,
Mm-hmm.
but, it's definitely one of those games where you have... I think all of those, Among Us, Mafia, Werewolf, any of that
Social
kind of thing, you have
deduction.
to have the right... Yeah.
Is the genre name.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah, I think any of those games you have to have the right group to play. Because I tried playing Werewolf with my family, like we got it, and it just did not work at all. They weren't invested, and they did not care. And I was so excited, and it just did not work.
That's very sad.
Yeah, but it definitely... We've been playing this as a group since freshman year, and it's been a great time
Yeah.
since the start, so... For anyone who doesn't know, the game is like, you get cards and everybody has a role on the card, and there are like townspeople and then there's werewolves, and the werewolves are the ones you want to find who they are and kill them, and the townspeople, there's like different roles, but they all make up the town. And during the night, which is when everyone like closes their eyes after they know their role, different characters do different things, like switching around the cards and stuff, so you might wake up as a different character than you were and like not really know what's happening, but you can't really just like full on say everything, because you have to figure, you might have become a werewolf, so you're trying to figure out where the werewolves are to kill them, but also if you are a werewolf to like protect yourself and lie. So and there's also the Tanner, who's like this one-off character who wants to die, and if they die then they win and everyone else loses. So that's the gist of the game, and it's really, really fun. So
The great part about like when it started, of course, is how we figured out strategies, right? How we all realized, wait a second, we can lie in this game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very lying oriented game. But
Good
it's
practice.
very fun.
Yeah. And then people would think of like new strategies, and then people would think of other new strategies, and then eventually it would just get like into a giant mind game, you know? Like Justin
Yeah.
always
Mhm.
claims werewolf just to be contrarian.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, at the end of games, we're like, oh, yeah, okay, we all know what happened, right? And then it's just totally incorrect.
It's absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
No one knows what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think some of the best memories of that is when we've, like, flipped over the cards and, like, nothing is where we thought it was, and we couldn't figure out what happened. Those were, like, some of the best ones.
Yeah, even with all the info on the table, we still don't fully understand what went on.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the first times that we were like, wait a second, we can get a little spicy, was when I was the troublemaker who can switch two people's roles. And then basically, if you start off as a werewolf and you get switched out of it, then you are no longer the werewolf. Whoever you got switched with is now the werewolf, so you can just sort of rat him out. And then it's really like seems simple now, but at the time I was very proud of myself because I lied about who I switched. And then one of whom was Nick, and Nick was the werewolf. And then he was like, oh, okay, I got switched. And then the other person is the werewolf. But then I lied. So then we just killed him. Yeah. And then
And I've had trust issues ever since.
Yeah. Another one is when most of the people that were playing left to go to the bathroom, and then Philomena told me her role, and then I claimed it immediately when everyone came back.
Wait, I don't remember this.
It was like you, me, and Aaron were the only people who didn't go to the bathroom. It was in like the room in Mudge which had like the portrait in it, I think. It was very late at night. Oh yeah,
As it always
and then
was.
and then
Generally
Olivia
is.
started backing me up on it, who wasn't even there when we had that conversation, and it was just great.
Oh.
Another one is we were playing with Axel, and he was like, I literally cannot lie. So he got werewolf with me and was like, okay guys, I'm the werewolf, just vote me out. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I switched him with someone else as like the troublemaker. And they were like, oh, okay. So then we just voted out that person, and I was like, haha, I was also the werewolf. And we won with Axel just telling the truth the whole time.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, werewolf is a good time with the right group.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think my family plays... I grew up playing 3 games with my brothers, like, religiously. Like, every time we played a game, it was either Monopoly, this game Hotels, which a lot of people, like, nowadays, whenever I mention that, don't know what it is. But it's kind of like Monopoly, just with... Yeah, it's kind of like Monopoly. And then Risk was the last one.
Yeah, I played a lot of Risk when I was really young. I haven't played it in like the last 5-10 years much.
Yeah, I think my dad, whenever we would pull out Risk, he would say that like him and his brothers, when they played, would like grid the water and make that part of the game too. Like they got really into it. We never tried that, me and my brothers, but I think every time we had the game on the table, my dad told us that they like would use the water as part of the game and like make a whole like grid system, and like they extended it, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But
I played it a lot during bus rides and marching band, and then we would like keep count of who would win.
Were you playing like electronic?
Yeah, like on a phone, and we'd pass it around.
Gotcha. I'd be like, that's hard to play on a bus.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Tiny pieces.
Yeah.
Need a lot of magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we played it once, and then I killed Nick because I thought that I would like be able to just end the game with like his cards.
Yeah.
And then Philomena and Justin teamed up and then killed me, and I was like, okay, now I feel bad.
Yeah, and then Justin 360'd, and like once it was just us, he got the entire board before making his final. Like he left me with one piece of land and took over the entire board before making his final move to beat the game. But
That's how it goes.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have like that image of like the final move on my like Snapchat memories or something.
Oh, nice.
But Yeah, those are good games. I would have my brother Joe would always win at Risk when we were younger. Now it's kind of varied, but and I mean it made sense. He was the oldest brother and he had been playing it forever. And then my brother Angelo would win whenever we played hotels, which I don't know why, but he always did the same thing too. We just like each of my brothers would win by doing the exact same thing and no one ever stopped them. But yeah, and then Monopoly was just a free for all.
Yeah, Monopoly, one of the most brutal games.
Yeah, Monopoly creates enemies.
Oh, you know what creates enemies? Or creates hatred, just in general, hatred of, like, the world.
Oh.
Is MAO.
Yup.
I love MAO.
I love MAO, too.
God.
I love it so much. But
I
everyone
hate it
besides
so
us two
much.
hates it, I think, so we never play it.
Will, you need to come home and play it with my brothers. I learned MAO from my brother's group in high school. And I was, like, hanging with them one time, and they were the ones who knew. So for anyone who doesn't know the game MAO, it's a card game, and I can't really tell you the rules because that's part of the game, is that you're not supposed to know the rules, and that everyone you're playing with does know the rules, and you kind of got to figure it out. But it's so fun.
Yeah.
But the first time I played it was with them, and I think there was a group of, like, 20 of them, and they all knew the rules, except for me and, like, this one other kid. So we were like, it's a lot more fun when there's many people. Like, if you're just playing with, like, 5 people and they all know, it's not I don't know. I just feel like the more people there are, it's more fun because, like,
the more confusion
everyone's
there
in
is.
on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and the more people where they all know and there's only, like, 1 or 2 that don't. But yeah, it's a great game.
I played that with my parents, and they were also, like, very frustrated. Like, they had this.
I don't think my parents would ever play that game. I don't think I could convince them to. They would never ever play it.
Yeah,
just on premise alone.
Playing MAO for the first time was one of the most frustrating, like, degrading experiences I've had playing a game that I wouldn't want to inflict it on anyone else.
Did you? When was it the first time you played with us?
Yes, it was with you and Aaron and Will. I hated it so much. Which is the point. But
yeah, no, it's not supposed to be enjoyable for the person who's learning, but I enjoyed it. I just was frustrated. Yeah. But that reminds me, though, of the time that, I don't know what game it was, but remember the game that we all played in, like, the piano room in Mudge, where like, you all knew how to play, and it was like
Betrayal
the one
on
with
the House
Banshee.
on the Hill.
oh yeah,
Something along those lines.
And none of you would explain it, and I had no idea what to do, and that's why I just kept saying, like, I'm the Banshee, and just, like, I'm doing weird stuff that made no sense.
Like, I'm pretty sure halfway through the game, one of the players, like, becomes evil, and then it's, like, them versus the rest of the players. And I'm pretty sure it was me who was evil. But since... and I think I might have been the Banshee, like, technically, or, like, I was looking for the Banshee or something weird like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't actually the Banshee.
Yeah.
I don't know... I don't remember anything about it. I just was being, like, a troublemaker.
I'm pretty sure...
I had no idea what else to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what happened is that nobody would explain to Philomena what to do. So she got frustrated and then eventually sabotaged her team, and then I won because of that. So...
I mean, I take no blame because I literally had no idea what to do. So. Yeah. It was also very, very late. It was like...
Yeah.
We never played anything earlier than, like, midnight.
Yeah.
In freshman year.
Always after dark. Well after dark. Yeah, in my family, one of the big things is Hearts, just the playing card game. I've played that a ton with my, like, parents and brother, but also my grandparents play it. And, like, everyone in my family is so good at that. And I'm, like, okay. But I can't hold a candle to everyone else.
I remember, like, we would play card games every now and then. And I remember when I was in, I think, 8th grade, like, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden there was just, like, this phase of, like, nonstop card games being played. Like, every minute that we weren't in class, we were playing a card game. And it was just, like, random ones, and everybody would be in, like, separate groups playing random card games. And I think there was one big one called Spit that we all started playing.
Yeah. Spit's so good.
What is Spit?
It's, if I remember it correctly, it's like all about speed, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like the gist is like you're tossing out cards and at some point something happens where you have to like hit it first. And there's no actual spit involved.
Fortunately.
You have to like hit the card before the other person does.
Basically, it's like a normal card game, except it's not turn-based, where you're just sort of you have to put cards down onto the two piles, like in some way that like follows the rules.
Oh,
basically, you just have to do it faster than your opponent because you're both just scrambling for it.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. That reminds. I would say something about MAO, but that would spoil the rules of MAO, so I'm not going to.
We would also play those like vocal like puzzle games that are kind of like MAO. Like you have to figure out like what the point is, like the who has the ball. Do you guys know that one?
Oh yeah, I remember that those exist. I don't remember any specific one.
I know that one. That one always comes to mind when I think about them because it's like, wait, Will, did you say you knew what it was?
I do not know what it is.
Do you want to try one here with Will and like the whole audience can participate? Like you just do it and we'll try and figure it out. I have somewhat of an advantage because I've done these before.